Did you know that nearly 60% of all global reserves are held in US dollars? That's a staggering amount. But can the dollar maintain its status as the world's primary currency? Join me as we explore the challenges and changes that could shape its future. To understand the current state of the dollar, we need to rewind to its origins. After World War II, the global economy needed stabilization. In 1944, representatives from 44 nations met at the Bretton Woods Conference in New Hampshire. They decided to peg other currencies to the US dollar, which was itself backed by gold. This decision made the dollar the world's leading reserve currency. In the 1970s, another critical development occurred: the petrodollar system. Major oil-producing nations agreed to sell their oil exclusively in dollars. This agreement not only bolstered the dollar's status, but also created a continuous demand for it. American dollars became essential for countries to participate in global trade. However, in 1971, President Nixon announced the end of the gold standard. This Nixon shock transformed the dollar into a fiat currency, meaning it was no longer backed by gold. Yet, its global dominance continued. The world had no alternative to the dollar for trade. Fast forward to today, and the dollar remains crucial for several reasons. First, about 40% of global trade is conducted in US dollars. This is significant because it simplifies transactions for countries engaging in international commerce. Second, around 60% of foreign exchange reserves are held in dollars. Countries hold dollars to stabilize their economies and manage crises. Additionally, the dollar is dominant in energy markets. Oil, gas, and other commodities are generally priced in dollars. This means countries need dollars to purchase these essential resources. This unique role of the dollar creates a reliance on it. Nations have little choice but to keep a healthy reserve of US currency. But the dollar faces significant challenges in today's environment. Let's explore some of them in detail. First, the staggering US national debt exceeds $31 trillion. This heavy debt burden raises questions about the long-term sustainability of the dollar's value. High levels of debt can lead to rising interest rates and currency depreciation. Next up is inflation. In recent years, inflation rates have soared, affecting purchasing power. The Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to combat inflation, but this too can complicate economic stability. High interest rates may attract foreign investors, but they can also stifle domestic growth. If not managed carefully, this cycle could diminish trust in the dollar. Then, let's discuss the weaponization of the dollar. The US government has increasingly used financial sanctions as a foreign policy tool. Countries like Iran and Russia have faced severe sanctions that restrict their access to dollars. While effective, this use of the dollar as a weapon is prompting nations to seek alternatives. Finally, we must acknowledge the rise of the yuan and the BRICS coalition. Countries like China, Russia, and India are advocating for trade in local currencies. The BRICS nations are even exploring a common digital currency to facilitate trade among themselves, reducing reliance on the dollar. Let's consider some real-world examples that illustrate these trends. Countries are increasingly striking trade deals using currencies other than the dollar. For instance, China and Russia have ramped up trade in their native currencies, sidelining the dollar altogether. In 2021, India and Russia agreed to use the rupee and ruble to settle payments for various transactions. This marked a significant step in reducing their dollar dependency. Central banks around the world are also increasing their gold reserves. Countries like Russia and China have stockpiled gold as a hedge against dollar fluctuations. This is a clear strategy to bolster their economic stability and pursue a more diverse reserve system. Moreover, alternatives to the SWIFT payment system are emerging. Russia has developed its own system called SPFS, allowing countries to transact without going through the traditional dollar channels. In 2023, several Middle Eastern nations began using alternative payment methods to conduct trade with China and Russia, further challenging the dollar's dominance. Technology is also influencing the future of the dollar. Innovations like central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and blockchain technology present new opportunities for disruption. China is leading the charge with its digital yuan aimed at global acceptance. The digital yuan could make cross-border trade smoother and diminish reliance on the dollar. On the other hand, the US is exploring its digital dollar. While it's in the nascent stage, a USCBDC would allow for faster transactions and could improve its global competitiveness. Blockchain technology and decentralized finance (DeFi) are also emerging disruptors. These innovations can facilitate transactions without intermediaries, offering more direct and less costly exchange methods. Such changes could undermine traditional banking systems and, by extension, the dollar's position in global finance. What lies ahead for the dollar? Here are some potential scenarios. The dollar stays dominant with challenges. In this scenario, the dollar maintains its status, but challenges remain. Countries may continue to hold dollars in reserves, but they might diversify their portfolios over time. A multipolar currency system. In this more likely scenario, we may see a multipolar currency system emerge. The dollar, euro, and yuan could coexist, each playing a significant role in global trade. This scenario would still keep the dollar important, but its dominance would be diminished. Gradual decline of US dollar influence. Lastly, there's a possibility for gradual decline. In this case, as countries continue diversifying, the dollar loses influence but doesn't collapse entirely. It could become one of several key currencies impacting global finance. Extreme but unlikely. Collapse of trust in the dollar. Finally, the most extreme scenario involves a collapse of trust in the dollar. While improbable, a combination of rampant inflation, national debt crises, and loss of confidence could lead to a drastic shift. If the dollar retains its dominance, the US will continue to wield significant economic power. This maintains its influence in international relations and allows for military funding. But if a multipolar system arises, the US may need to adapt its foreign policy. In summary, the future of the dollar is filled with uncertainty, but also opportunity. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below and be sure to like and subscribe for more insights into our ever-evolving global landscape.